we need to talk about bee attacks. This is far from my normal video format, but it is a topic that we need to address. There's information that needs to get out about the threat of Africanized bees in any of the southern states across the U.S., especially for my family and friends in Texas. You may wonder why I feel the need to address this now, because there's really nothing new. By the way, for visual interest as I talk, I'm going to be showing you some of the wildflower forage that's available right now in my area. But at any rate, you may wonder why I am addressing this now when there's really not very much that's new about the threat of Africanized bees. And that's true. There's no new threat, but over the last week, several things have made me realize that that this topic needs some attention, and one way or the other, it will be getting attention from the media because of several things that have happened. So the plain fact is that if you live in the Southern U.S., if you live in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, probably Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, anywhere in that region, Southern California, let's not forget them. In any of those regions, you can see it's looking pretty dry. There's lots of flowers, but they're dry. In any of those regions, you could be in the near vicinity of an Africanized colony, and there's a honeybee on our little thistle right there. You could be near them and not even know it. Let's see, I'm trying to, all right, that's bouncing around too much to really be helpful. And the reason you could not know it, you know, some people would go, I would know if I was near a bee colony, but you wouldn't necessarily, because most of the time the bees are in locations where they don't jump to your attention, and they go about their business, minding their own business, until they are disturbed. They may be 20 feet up in a hollow tree, and you might not know they're there, or they might be under some discarded appliance in an unmaintained yard, or they could be, you know, there's the possibilities are nearly endless, and you won't know until you or someone else or something else disturbs them that they're near you. And so if that happens, it becomes important for you to know how to respond, what you should do, and more importantly, what you should not do in the event that you find yourself under a serious attack from aggressive bees. So why am I talking about this now? Well, several things have made me feel the need for this just in the past week. For months now, I've been dealing with an increasing problem in many of my hives where they're Africanized. They are aggressive. I step out there and I want to, or rather, they want to kill me with a fury that is not normal for European honeybees. Fortunately, I have the gear so that I can largely make myself almost impervious to their attacks. Not quite. They still get through once in a while. But I know that I've been in swarms of bees where if I was not wearing the protective equipment, without a doubt, they could have killed me. And so it's made me more mindful of the threat. Then also, there were highly publicized reports last week of a circumstance near where I live in Central Texas, where three very expensive prized horses, they were either racing horses or breeding horses, were killed by Africanized bees, and it got a lot of attention. And then there was another incident just this weekend where a man was mowing near a house that was, I think, vacant, disturbed some bees, and he was killed, regrettably. Even though, as I understand it, emergency response was there pretty quickly, but before they could get there, he had sustained too many stings. And in his case, he got in a truck, tried to drive away, got involved in an accident in the truck before he put sufficient distance uh, between him and the colony, so he could not get out of the truck, and he succumbed before he could be extracted. So, tragic event, things we can learn some things about. Um, but then the final matter that made me recognize the urgency of this is over the weekend I was helping a friend. Got some mesquite in bloom here. I've not been around too much mesquite to know what it looks like. So I was helping a friend with his colony. They were not Africanized. They were a little on the aggressive side, but I would say within the range of normal. And his daughter disregarded his instructions to stay in the house while we were working the bees. She was 6 years old. She came out, started towards actually, I don't even know if she was starting towards the hive or if she was just too close for the bees' comfort. She was about 30 yards away, and she took a sting. And she started screaming to her dad and to me that the bees were on her. We told her, go into the house, and she turned and took a few steps into the house, towards the house. She was still about halfway to the house, and turned around and said, they're still on me. And she kind of froze. She didn't continue to follow the instructions she was given, and I'm not blaming her for that at all. Scary circumstance. And we had to get her attention and get her inside. But I realized that just as in a 6-year-old, that kind of panic can immobilize you, can do that with adults who don't have the information that they need or haven't worked through the scenarios that they may find themselves in to be able to respond appropriately. And so I thought it's good to give people more information about the threat and about what to do in case you're ever in that circumstance. So let's talk first. Sorry about my videography. I'm trying to juggle a page of notes as well as hold the camera accurately. So let's talk first about some facts about bees. And the first one is a big one, and it's going to affect our approach to some of the other advice that I give. And that is that in the typical scenario, honeybees can only sting you once. They have a barbed tip on their stinger. And in the vast majority of cases, once they sting you, that tip gets stuck in your skin. That's why it's important to remove the stingers as quickly as you can. But it also means that as the bees try to escape, they often are mortally wounded. The stinger stays behind in you, it's ripped away from their body, and they go off to die. So that's an important fact. Second, Africanized bees, you need to know they are widespread in the Southern U.S. and can live almost anywhere in the region. So as I was saying, you could be near an Africanized colony and not even know it. Third, Africanized bees, and by that we're talking about bees that are a hybrid of a bee originating in Africa and a bee originating in Europe. These Africanized bees are more aggressive than either of the other populations, either the European or the African. And they exhibit that aggression by attacking in greater numbers. With a European colony, you may have 10 to 20 bees trying to guard the hive. With the Africanized, it may be hundreds or thousands of bees simultaneously trying to guard the hive. They also attack with greater persistence. They will follow you for long distances, half a mile I've personally confirmed, possibly even longer. Just haven't tried that, walking that far to get away from them. Whereas a European honeybee, usually if you get a few tens of yards away, they're going to lose interest and go back to their hive. It's important to know that sensitivity to stings varies with the individual. Estimates are that for the typical person, it takes about 10 stings per pound of body weight to be a fatal dose. And so for a 200-pound man, you're talking about 2,000 stings. For a 40-pound toddler or child, it's been a while since my children were toddlers. I don't remember just how quickly they reach 40 pounds, but 40-pound child, you'd be looking at 400 stings, much less than an adult. So that's the thing we need to keep in mind. It's important to know that what we need to do is to reduce the number of stings and the number of bees available to sting. And so now we get to some practical advice. What should we do? What shouldn't we do? And I want to start with what you must not do. You must not do this. Don't freeze in place in panic. Don't stand where you are swatting at bees, trying to get them off of you. Don't try to get bees out of your clothing. Do not stop moving. If you do that, it's a recipe for bad things. Second, don't count on water to protect you. A lot of people have the idea that if they can find a swimming pool or a pond and dive under the water, they'll be safe. The reality is, with Africanized bees, they'll be waiting for you when you come up. Some people might think, well, I can spray with a water hose. And it is true that to simulate rain will often make a colony return to the hive and lose their focus on you, but not Africanized bees who are already in a defensive mode, already angry at you. They will stay at you. So don't count on water. If you are in a vehicle, don't roll down the window to let the bees out, because you're more likely letting more bees in. In a vehicle, don't be in motion if you are at risk of panicking. If you can't take a sting while resisting the urge to swat or to slap or to roll down a window or whatever it is, then don't try to move the vehicle, because you could get into an accident that would take your life as you're trying to save your life from the bees. And that's a trade-off that's not beneficial to you. So what should you do? I recommend, first of all, you've got to get into an enclosed space. Now, the best option is to get into a building. Second best would be get into an enclosed vehicle or some other confined space that can be closed up. You want to be able to stop the access of outside bees from reaching you. So even if you get into a vehicle, and this is an important point, let's say you get into a vehicle and a whole bunch of the bees follow you in there. Even if that's the case, if you've moved quickly, it's probably not hundreds of bees that would be able to quickly follow you in. It's probably less than 100. And I know this from experience when I've left a hive that's very Africanized, very angry. They've been all over me. There have been a couple of hundred of them trying to get on my veil, on my suit. I get into the vehicle and I've immediately greatly reduced the bees that are available to target me, because maybe 100 got in with me, or maybe 50, or maybe 20. So simply by getting into an enclosed vehicle unless you've taken so many stings trying to reach the vehicle that you're already in danger, you've probably saved your life just by getting in the vehicle. Now, what happens when you're in the vehicle? First of all, if you max the AC, that will help. The cooler temperature makes the bees calm down and disorients them, makes them want to get out, and so they can lose their focus on you, go to the windows, and be focusing on trying to find their way out to the sky that they recognize. Um, in the vehicle, be prepared to take more stings, but remember, you've limited the number. So maybe you've got 20 bees, 30 bees, 50 bees. Nevertheless, that's not near the 2,000 sting limit, right? So um, even if every bee in the vehicle stings you, they can only do it once, and that's the end. And so try not to panic. You may take some more stings, but you won't take thousands more stings. Um, Drive, if you're in the vehicle and you can drive safely, drive a mile or two away. That will be far enough so that the original hive won't be able to reach you. And at that point, when you're a considerable distance away, then you can safely roll down the windows to let bees out if they're at the windows trying to get out. And you can possibly get out and get away from the bees at that point. But again, don't do that if you can't, if you're not confident of your ability to avoid panicking, because you could put yourself in a different type of danger. If you're feeling panicky, stay put inside the vehicle with limited opportunity for stings and call 911. Now, one fear that I want to alleviate. If you've seen videos or movies or cartoons depicting killer bees and how somebody gets in a vehicle and all of a sudden the bees are pouring through the air ducts. They don't do that. That's not real. You don't have to worry about that. Once you're in the vehicle closed, they're not going to come through the air conditioning vents or the heating vents. They're going to be stymied at the closed doors and closed windows. Obviously, make sure the windows are up. All right. And then if you have to wait for help, you can look around and see if there's anything you can use for covering up exposed skin. The less space that you can make available to them, the better off you are. Now, we said get into a building, and that was the best choice, or a vehicle. We've been talking about the vehicles, but what if you get into a building? There's one more thing that you can do to improve the effectiveness of that, and that is to turn off the lights. Bees do not like to fly in the dark. They get disoriented when they're inside of a building, and like most insects, they are attracted to light. And so if you turn off the lights and there are windows where they have some illumination, then they're likely to try to move towards the windows. And at that point, they're focused on the window. And just like flies on the inside of a window, they can easily be swatted without hurting you. Now, these little flowers, I see one of our girls collecting pollen from these little white flowers. There's another one. So that's it. That's my best advice. Try to get indoors immediately or in an enclosed space. Try to put some distance safely between you and the colony. Try not to panic. Panic is deadly. Try to cover up exposed skin when you're able to. And God willing, you'll never be in that sort of a situation. But because there have been these high-profile cases in Texas, because I've got lots of friends and family and schoolmates from my upbringing who live in Texas, I just wanted to get this information out. Share it with other people if you can. Let's get the word out on how to survive an Africanized honeybee attack. Blackland Prairie Bees, like, share, subscribe, and click notification. God bless you and protect you from these nasty bees. Bye-bye.